Hey, this is Ryan with Good Racing, and we're going to take a quick look at the RoadsterSport Bracing available for the 4th generation ND MX5. Now, the car behind me is one of our project cars. This is our 2016. It's a bit of a track-focused build, and it's got a bunch of fun stuff on it. Edelbrock supercharger, Öhlins coilovers, big brake kit, but you can see over my shoulder here that it's also running our RoadsterSport front shock tower brace. And we'll take a closer look at that in a moment. But the bracing that you're not able to see unless it was up in the air is the underbody bracing. And so I've got one piece of the 4-piece underbody brace kit here off the car just so we can take a closer look at this first. Now when this shows up at your door and you unbox everything, and hold it in your hands, the first thing that you notice is, holy cow, this thing is a lot lighter than I would expect for something of this size. Most RoadsterSport bracing is made out of aluminum. It's really nicely TIG welded and it's powder coated. But there's a really cool feature that you can't tell by looking at the finished part here. And that's that all of this tubing is actually aluminum honeycomb. So there's a honeycomb matrix inside here, and that makes this tubing quite a bit stronger even than if it were hollow tubing. And so the result of that is that RoadsterSport bracing has an incredibly high strength to weight ratio. Now take the front shock tower brace as an example. Most of the other shock tower braces that are out there and available for the ND are heavy steel. And if you're a fan of the ND, then I don't even need to tell you. The whole point of the MX5 is that Mazda designed it around the Graham strategy. Weight is critical to that. And so yes, we want to make things stronger and more rigid whenever possible, but not at the expense of unnecessary weight. The underbody bracing kit replaces a couple of factory components underneath there with more rigid bracing, and it also triangulates between more points underneath the chassis. Now, Mazda did a pretty good job of designing a stiff chassis for the 4th generation, certainly better than the early generations of MX5s. That said though, any convertible is still inherently limited in how rigid it can be because it lacks a roof to transfer loads through. And for that reason, we use underbody bracing to help compensate for that. Now looking at the RoadsterSport front shock tower brace that's mounted to this car, we can see that it's mounted back to the factory positions by the firewall, as well as the shock towers on either side. When you look at it a little bit closer, you can see that there are accommodations for mounting all the factory parts that are nearby. This tab over here is for the sound tube, which of course we've deleted on this car, and you can see the ECU mounted to provided positions over on that side. Now, if you have a factory shock tower brace, and you also have adjustable shocks, you'll have quickly realized that you cannot get to the knob, because the factory shock tower brace covers this entire area. So the only way to get to your adjustable knob is to either drill a hole in the shock tower brace or remove it completely. Now, of course, the RoadsterSport shock tower braces leave this entire area open so you can access your adjustable shocks easily. Another important note to make is about these rear mounting locations. Now, if you have a factory shock tower brace, these are the same mounting locations that they use, and so you will have those. However, if your car did not come with a factory shock tower brace, then you likely do not have these 2 studs in the back. And so in addition to the shock tower brace, you will also need to get our Cowl mounting bracket. We sell that as well on the website. Now, it's important to note that that is a little bit more work to install because some of this windshield cowl area has to be removed in order to install the Cowl mounting bracket, but it is worth the effort. Now let's move to the back of the car. And in the trunk here, we can see the rear shock tower brace. Now, much like the front, this connects the shock towers on the left and right sides of the car and helps transfer load between them to keep things more rigid. Now, because this is a track-focused build, this particular car doesn't have the forward shield that's normally present in the trunk. However, you can reinstall that factory shield if you trim it to clear the shock tower brace. And we have some pictures on our website of a trimmed brace installed with this bracket in case you want to mimic that on your own car. That is about it for the RoadsterSport braces. Now, if you have a Fiat 124, most of these braces will work on your car as well. However, the front shock tower brace will not, because there are some bits and pieces in the engine bay that differ on the Fiat that don't allow this to clear. However, the underbody bracing and the rear shock tower brace will fit the Fiat 124. If you've got any other questions, jump on our website, goodwinracing.com, check out all the information there, hit the contact page, send us an email, give us a call. We'll be happy to walk you through things. Have a great day.